The welcoming angel was there, and the angel took care of the priest first. The angel dug through the halo box and came out with an old warped wooden halo and put it on the priest. And then the angel showed the priest his living quarters, and when he opened the door, he noticed it was one rather small little room he was going to have to live in for all eternity. He was getting upset, but he said to himself, "Shut up." He said, "You've made it to heaven, no real cause of fuss." Well, when he opened the door to his wardrobe closet, there was one drab-colored robe hanging there, his only clothing for all eternity. Well, the priest followed the angel as the angel took care of the taxi driver, and he noticed this time when the angel dug through the halo box, the angel came out with a beautiful, shining, golden halo and put it on the taxi driver. And then when the angel showed the taxi driver his living quarters, it was a suite of rooms, so many rooms, it was going to take him all eternity just to open the doors and explore. And then when he opened the door to his wardrobe closet, it went for miles. Clothing, every style, every color of the rainbow, just waiting for his every whim. Well, the priest couldn't hold back any longer, and the priest said, "Angel, I don't understand why this taxi driver is getting such a higher place in heaven than I am. I was a priest for 57 years. I said my prayers. I was faithful to my duties. I don't understand it." And the angel said, "Father, whenever you preached, people slept. Whenever this taxi driver drove, they prayed." So we encourage you to stay wide awake here tonight so that we can show one another whatever it might be that awaits us on the other side. We live in a world today where we have tuned into these bodies of ours quite wondrously. Statistically, it's quite amazing how many people now know their blood sugar number, their cholesterol count, good and bad, their blood pressure. They can go on telling you about their bodies and how they are doing physically. But oftentimes today, when it comes to the level of the soul and our spiritual journey, we get very vague. So many people today will say, "Well, Father, I don't even know what a sin is even more. How to reflect upon sinfulness." I can remember as a kid, we used to make a daily examination of conscience. We were trying to stay tuned into how we were doing in our spiritual journey. Somebody might come up to us today and say, "Well, how are you doing spiritually?" And we just take a stab at it. We say, "Well, I'm feeling fine." Like the story told about the Kentucky farmer. He hitched his old mule to the wagon, got his dog, and they were heading into town. They were no more on the main road going into town, when in the wrong lane came a big white Cadillac. And that Cadillac ran into him, and the mule went flying, and the dog went flying, and the farmer pinned in the wagon and went tumbling. Well, about 6 months later, when the farmer got out of the hospital, he decided to sue the owner of that Cadillac to help pay his hospital bill. Well, the day came when they finally all showed up at the courthouse together. And before anything could happen, the judge turned to the farmer and he said, "Sir," he said, "I do not understand why you're suing this fine gentleman here. In your file, it's reported on the day of the accident, you are having said, 'I have never felt better in my whole life.'" The farmer said, "Well, Judge, it's a long story." He said, "I got my mule and the dog, and we were going into town, and that car ran into us, and the mule and dog went flying. I was pinned in the wagon." Well, about 15 minutes later, a highway patrolman came upon the scene. And he got out of his car, and he walked over to my old dog. He noticed my dog had 4 broken legs and broken back, so he pulled out his revolver, and he shot my old dog in the head. Well, that was the kind thing to do. That dog would have never lived. But then he goes to my mule, and he notices my mule has 4 broken legs and broken back, bleeding profusely again. He pulled out his revolver, and he shot my old mule in the head. a kind thing to do. That old mule would have never lived. Then he comes to where I'm pinned under that wagon. And he shouted, "Oh, Timer, how are you doing?" And I shouted back, "I've never felt better." So anyway, maybe a mission is an opportunity to try to give an honest reflection, to stand in kind of the searchlight of God's grace and kind of see where we are in our journey, especially if there's some things that need healing. If there's some areas of stubborn resistance to grace, to let go and give those to the Lord so that he can truly set us free. You're going to see a great deal of my preaching centers around the person of Jesus Christ. As I indicated over the weekend, that embrace of Christ more deeply. There was a story told about this explorer years ago. He loved to explore, and breaking all the rules, he often went exploring alone. Well, he was up in the North Pole, and he had built himself a little place he called home, and one day he was out exploring about a mile from his home base when he looked up and noticed a rather threatening sky. So he figured a blizzard was coming. He better get home. So he started hustling back to his little shanty. Well, he was only about 100 yards away when the storm hit. And I mean, it hit with such a fury. He started blowing the snow on the ground. More snow started falling. I mean, he couldn't see a foot in front of himself. He was caught in a whiteout. Well, he was smart enough to know you don't go meander in a whiteout. He knew safety, his little home was only 100 yards away, but how could he find his way home? Well, he said a little prayer, and the Lord gave him a brilliant idea. He reached into his backpack, and he pulled out a little spike he had, and he drove it into the icy ground. Then he took out a ball of twine, and he tied one end of the twine to the spike, and he let out 30, 40 yards. He wasn't too sure. He made a large circle, but he found nothing. So he let out another 30, 40 yards, and still he found nothing. So then finally, after he let out about 100 yards, very cautiously, slowly, keeping the string taut, he was making this gigantic circle, and he bumped right into the front door of his little house, where he is now safe from the storm. But it wasn't until he had a firm point of reference, it wasn't until he had something to tie on to that he was able to find his way home. Well, to me, that's always been a beautiful illustration of how we have to tie our heart to the heart of Jesus Christ. And not only will Jesus bring us home to heaven when we die, but I'm a great believer he will bring us ever more fully, intently into the practice of our Catholic faith. We will begin to wake up and see the miracles that surround us in the sacramental life, the community life of our Catholic Church. So Jesus is the center. Jesus is the one we hold on to, we tie our lives to, so that we can find our way home. Today I'm going to be talking to you about grace, the great gift of grace, but how difficult it is to accept being loved free. So to get us ready now for the sermon, let's stand and join together in another song.